how we are actually talking to ourselves and the relationship that we're having with ourselves is a very important part of our well-being and a very important part of how we are in relationship with our business, our career, and our success ultimately. It's Willow here. Great to see you. Thank you for tuning in. This area is an invitation to become aware of how you are talking to yourself. Now, what tends to happen is that on a day-to-day, moment-to-moment basis, we are often treating ourselves quite badly internally. And for us as HSPs, this is an area where we really need to become aware of, because it has pervasive effects throughout our lives. If our internal dialogue is not coming from a place of respect and positivity, this is one of those programs that we tend to run on autopilot. We are very much at the mercy of how we were spoken to when we were growing up. We are very much at the mercy of our own self-image. As an HSP, if we are in the mindset that there is something wrong with us because we're different, for whatever reason it may be, we have to be really careful of how we are actually treating and conversing with ourselves, because our internal dialogue has many different effects. The way in which we are actually training our subconscious comes as a result of what we're doing with our conscious thoughts, which is why there is all the work around affirmations, for instance. It's also directly linked with manifestation as well. Our subconscious plays a great part in what we're manifesting in our lives. And it also plays a part in what we're actually experiencing in our lives on a day-to-day basis. But the way in which we are perceiving the world around us is going to be through the filter of how we're talking to ourselves and the relationship that we're having internally is going to have a great effect on the world around us. So this is an invitation to become aware of this, to become aware of the habits of putting ourselves down, to become aware of how we are addressing ourselves and the way in which we are, the way in which we're conducting the relationship with ourselves. So my invitation is to notice this for a day. Notice what you're saying to yourself and how you're treating yourself internally. In my case, and I've spoken about this before in another video, I came from a very strict upbringing, and in order for me to really let go of that programming, I had to become aware of how I was speaking to myself. And I realized just how mean I was being to myself, how much berating there was. That if I wasn't beating with myself with a stick in some way, then I wasn't progressing forwards and being the best that I can be. And that is really not how it works. We have to be kind to ourselves, and we have to ultimately be our best friend. So have a go at this. Spend a day noticing your internal dialogue. How do you respond to yourself when something goes wrong? How do you respond to yourself when you're under pressure? How do you respond to yourself when you become overwhelmed? How do you respond to yourself when you need to take a period of self-care? How are you treating yourself in terms of your development and trying to get to where you want to be in your career, your business, your relationships, whatever it may be? In order for us to really support that process, we need to be in a place of self-love and self-respect. So self-love is the habit of embracing whatever is currently occurring in us emotionally, mentally, spiritually, psychologically. And when we find ourselves in this perpetual feeling of negativity internally, we have to shift that. And one of the best ways to shift an ongoing negative cycle of thought is to shift into gratitude. And that doesn't have to be gratitude towards the self. If that is a difficult shift, it can be a gratitude into anything. It might be your joy of swimming. It might be the love that you have for your pet or the love for a family member. It might be your love for nature. When we switch into a place of gratitude, it actually starts to switch off that negative cycle that's happening. Coming into the present moment is another way to switch that off. Also to become aware, which is ultimately what this exercise in imitation is about, is to become aware of those pervasive thought patterns and to challenge those, to ask yourself, is this actually true about myself? What's the evidence of the opposite that I can begin to amass so I can help to become my best friend. I can help to shift this pattern of negativity into one of self-care, into one of gratitude, and into a place of really being there for ourselves. This is a big one for us, and it's an invitation to begin the path of this, begin to notice how this is operating in you, and find ways in which you can begin to shift that. Some of the examples that I've given you, maybe there are already some ways that you do that. My invitation is to persist with it and to notice the effect that it has on your mood and well-being in the short term, and you'll begin to notice the effects that it starts to have long-term, the positive effects long-term. Let me know how it goes. See you next time. Bye for now.